Dave and I and the dogs went to Whatcom County to check out the rich history as well as natural beauty of the Gold Mine Trail. The very small parking area is private property, but I could find no other parking areas referenced. If you know of others, please comment. Most of the information I had on this trail came from Northwest Geology Field Trips blog. I'll link that in the description. I was watching in particular for an erratic boulder in addition to the mining features and a cabin originally built in 1891 by John Friendly and then restored in 2010. After a little over a quarter-mile walk through the fields, we've arrived in the woods. Really interesting gray and white fungus here. We weren't sure we were going to get on this hike because we were almost here to the trailhead and I saw an owl by the highway, so I wanted to get a picture of it. And then as I got a little closer, I was trying not to bother, I noticed that I shouldn't even be able to get that close and it didn't look right. So I walked up to it and it had been hit by a car and it had a broken left wing. So I picked it up and called my cousin who lives in the area, and she gave Dave some numbers to call, and she called some numbers to see who could take him. And the Whatcom County Humane Society Wildlife Center was only 3.7 miles away from where we were. So we wrapped him gently in my jacket and we made a detour and dropped off the owl. We're only going to get one update when they're done with this treatment, so I assume that means one way or the other, and I'm really hoping for the best. I'll drop some video footage of the owl in here if I got anything that shows him. I was a little worried and upset, so I'm not sure if I got anything that'll really be clear. I'm wondering if he got hit by a car here. Hey, this doesn't seem normal. I'm going to see if I can, his wings bent. I think we need a animal rescue. We're a little over half a mile in. There were some cars at the trailhead, but I haven't seen anyone yet. We're coming out on a bench above a ravine. I hope the sound of this creek comes through. And I think that is Gold Creek, which I can't see, or the North Fork of the Swift Creek. We just get the audio of this creek right now. This trail is famous for its mud. There's some wild currant blooming still here. Oh, I'm finally getting my first glimpses of the stream. Let's see if I can zoom in a little. This is so pretty. The water just shoots down this like little water slide of a waterfall. And this, I believe, is, I'll put a link to the geologist's blog that I was reading. I believe this right here, this is an erratic that was brought here by glaciers. I think this is the one they were talking about, and it's lighter than the surrounding stone. And if this is it, it's from the Jackass Formation in the Cascades of British Columbia. And the surrounding stone, here is a good example of the surrounding stone. See under this waterfall, it looks like gravel. It's a conglomerate. And he said this is called the Chuckanut conglomerate. Really cool. I don't think the camera is going to do it justice. But there's a waterfall that goes all the way up there. So we're just under a mile at this creek crossing, and you can see some more of this downstream. Here's Trillium. This is interesting. I've never seen this before. This tree has been girdled, so it's dead. It's an old fir tree. But look how they've chopped it around one ring and then around this second ring. So like not cutting it down, and it doesn't look like it was from something being tied there necessarily. Has anybody ever seen that before? So we've reached the junction and we are going to the right towards the mine, and we're supposed to do a loop, so we should be coming back this way from the cabin direction, but if not, we will come back this way and go back up to the cabin. one of my favorite little trail critters. One of these cool little millipedes. 1.38 miles. This trail, people just came up, and the ore cart and the stamp mill is down here. On the trail, there's a split that the dogs are showing us, and to the right, I think we're going to find the stamp mill, and to the left, we're going to find the ore cart and the gold vault. So the story behind this is that the miners who staked a claim here had investors from somewhere else. And one man wrote a book saying that it was a scam and that he brought people out here to show them this mining claim that was just a scam, and built all of this as show. A lot of people think that it wasn't a scam, that in fact a small amount of gold was probably found here, but that it wasn't what they thought it was going to be, the mother lode. So the investors came away empty-handed and probably felt pretty salty about it, but it wasn't intended to be a scam, and that the gold just didn't pan out. So you'll have to decide for yourself what you think. But here is the boulder walls of what was either the stamp mill, and for scale, there's Dave coming down the hill up there. This is really tall, like at least 10 feet high. Or some called it the hotel, where some of the out-of-town investors came in and were entertained and such, as they celebrated their potential gold. There's some artifacts here, some rusty metal. And now it's a pretty cool looking mossy rock wall. Dave's coming down. This is his first long, steep hike. We didn't know the elevation gain on this since he broke his legs, so he's doing fantastic. I'm at 1.47 miles. I've come down the hill from the stamp mill walls, or whatever those stone walls were. And now, oh cool, look at this old piece of pipe. I do not know what these things were all used for, but there's definitely a lot of rusty pipe here and rusty artifacts. That looks like it could have been part of an old ore cart, some kind of a bin that's since collapsed. Up the hill from the stamp mill, and here we have what remains of the ore cart. It's definitely rusting away here in this Pacific Northwest forest. And Frodo has found the gold vault. So this is supposedly where, once they got the gold out, they may have locked it in here. I've not heard of gold vaults at mines, but I suppose that's a thing. Okay, that was awesome. We are back on the main trail going straight forward. And I think I said 200 yards past the little trails that go down to that rock wall and the gold vault and the ore cart, there should be the mine. And I also think I read somewhere there were maybe 3 mines associated with this claim. But in the directions, it just talks about the one. Let's see if we can see this. If you miss the turn, which would be pretty hard to do, to get to the ore cart and the rock walls, you can see the ore cart from this trail. There it is below. The sign, it's actually pretty well signed, this trail. It says pipeline, and if you look down, you can see this bigger rusty pipeline sitting there. At 1.9 miles, and this says mill, so I guess from what I read, they weren't sure if that first rock wall was the stamp mill or the hotel. I'm not seeing anything but the remnants of a campfire, a couple old tin cans. And the trail goes on down to the creek. This is a beautiful creek. I love this conglomerate that it flows over. It's just so pretty. All right, I'm 2.1 miles in, and remember I've gone up and down the little side trails, the Mill Trail and the Ore Cart Trail, but we are now at the Mine Trail. So if you go to the left and do those little things at 2.1, it's well marked just like everything else here. So I'm gonna go down this trail and we should see the gaping maw of the mine across the creek from us. Ooh, there it is. Interesting. This mine is filled with water, so I don't think anyone's going to be going in there, or at least not anyone in this hiking party, but I'll look in. Yeah, it's very low right here. My light isn't doing a whole lot of good because the light behind me. Yep, not a lot of good. It goes on a ways though. You can see it back in there. I need to change the batteries on my light here, but it's filled with water and it doesn't really look like it gets to the point where you could stand up in it either. Yeah. What are your thoughts so far on all of this? The trail and the mine and all that?
It's a great walk. It's been a great walk.
The mine looks kind of creepy with the water in there, huh?
It does.
Nasty. All right, that was fun. We checked out the mine. We're continuing on the same direction we're heading. And we should get to a Y and make a left. We're gonna work our way back toward the old cabin and then complete our loop. I'm at 2.3 miles, about to cross this little creek. And there's a sign that said Old Bridge, 1901 to 1981. So this was the site of an old bridge, but not anymore. So we're just gonna cross right up here. Shouldn't be a problem. This says Doug's Place and Slide. I'm assuming like a little water slide across the conglomerate, but and Jeff's Lookout is up this way. And there's another mine, huh. So much to explore here, but we were just up for a short explore and we started pretty late and then had our little owl adventure. So I think we're gonna probably skip all these things and just wind around to the cabin, which was the original intention. Cocoa Crossroads. Man, there is a lot going on right here in the woods. Skipping the mine and the slide, and we're just gonna stick with our original plan and head for the cabin, which looks like a little bit of a climb out of this ravine. 2.64 miles, and we've got quite a view. It's so beautiful out there. We got to a junction and made a left, which should be right, but it wasn't signed. We talked to somebody who said we'd come out on a logging road, but so far I haven't seen the logging road. We are at 2.8 miles. I think this is where our path diverges from the logging road. We'll go this way to finish our loop. Here we are at the 100-year-old cabin, and there's even daffodils in front of it. Aw. We're just gonna walk around and then we'll check out the inside. It says Sumas Mountain Outpost. And it actually looks like you could stay inside. I'll show you. People are taking good care of it. I'm not sure what the rules are for staying here. There's a little chair to sit in, cool little posts, and then a register, and then there's a hook to keep bears out. And this little door is just barely over my head. Oh, and let me show you this. It says 1891. And in the cabin, there is a shelf with a cookie sheet, and looks like people are leaving their garbage, which is really, really awful. And then we've got a nice little wood stove here, and a table, and another table. I'm not sure why there's the chains on those. They don't look like they're hinged. Interesting. And then a map of the area, actually. And then there's a loft with a ladder that goes up. Mind the gaps if you go up there, but it looks like it's insulated and everything, so that's cool. The windows are right at ground level. This says it's a memorial to someone's son. Look who we found here. I have a little friend. It's an alligator lizard. He's so cute. The dogs didn't see him, so that's good. Hi, little guy. Wow, that is an old can. Grape knee-high. I have not seen that ever in a store, but I've heard of it. Looks like our trail will go down this way. But out here, there is the all-important outhouse. All right, I believe, even though it's not marked, that this is the most beaten path leading away from the cabin. So I think this is the path we need to complete our loop. The dogs are ready to be done. It's like a weird hallway of these tiny, scrawny trees. When they replant, you can see that stump back in there, how big it was. And now this is what we're left with. Coming out with some little fir trees. It's like a little green tunnel going down this hill. Down, down, down. We're about 3.45 miles, and I can see from the back of this sign, we are back at the junction that we first saw for the cabin. So we've completed our loop, and now we just need to hike out on the part of the trail that we hiked in on, through the forest and through the meadows, and then I will give you some stats on this hike. That was an amazing hike, really fun, a lot to see. 4.74 miles was the total round trip, and our elevation gain was 1,130 feet, which I couldn't find that statistic anywhere, and we were really not expecting that much of a climb. Going up and down the hills adds to it, so I pretty much killed Dave, but he was a great sport about it, and we're all alive. And the dogs are tired, Luna back there, and we are going to head home now.